introduce yourself, who are you from and what you do in the partnership space?
Okay, so I'm Alison Cook-Sather, and I'm a professor of education at Bryn Mawr College in Pennsylvania in the United States, and also the director of our Teaching and Learning Institute, which is at Bryn Mawr and Haverford College's bi-college consortium in the United States. And I've run a partnership program at these institutions since 2007. This program was co-created by students and staff and faculty to focus on creating more culturally responsive practice. That was the language that we used at that time to talk about equity and inclusion. And that program has been running again since 2007 and has become a model for many other institutions around the world to develop partnership work. And I do a lot of consulting, so I travel around and talk with people about their context, what their hopes are for partnership, what might make sense to consider for their particular context. So I'm in a lot of different conversations about partnership work around the world, hoping to help people think about what makes sense for them, the people and the place where they're working.
What kind of got you into that space in the first place?
What got me into this space in the first place was when I used to be the director of our teacher certification program. I used to be the director of our secondary certification program, so undergraduates preparing to be secondary teachers. And when I took over that program, I noticed that we're preparing teachers without giving them any opportunity to be in dialogue about anything with the ones that they're going to be teaching. And so I created a project that paired undergraduate students who are seeking secondary certification with secondary students in local schools. And they were paired up. This was back in 1995, and they exchanged actual letters at that time, every week, and written letters, because there wasn't email yet at that time, and they exchanged letters and just talked about what creates an inclusive classroom, what kinds of assessment really help them show what they know. So it was really secondary students positioned as pedagogical partners with prospective secondary teachers that started this work. And then I carried that model up into higher education with undergraduate students partnering with college and university faculty to have the same kinds of conversations, really bringing two perspectives together. Because it feels to me like, how can we be engaged in teaching and learning without understanding the people we're in dialogue with and how that knowledge is being created together? It feels like there needs to be more of a dialogue, not just a delivery.
Yeah, what are kind of the main persistent struggles that you faced within your partnership space?
The same as everywhere. People worried about power, people worried about their positions being complicated or threatened or undermined or somehow becoming other than what they expected, when they moved into academia or teaching or learning. And so that's a perpetual challenge. People assume that power is something you either have or you don't have, rather than something you can share and co-create. And on some level that's true, but on another level, there are different ways of thinking about sharing power. It doesn't always have to be either you have it or you don't. And I would say another thing is just confidence in one's capacity to be in this kind of relationship. To be present, to listen constructively, to take in what someone speaking from another perspective has to say. That's challenging for many people without becoming defensive. I would say a challenge that many faculty or staff struggle with is they feel like it's about students telling them how to teach, but it isn't about that. It's about understanding different people's perspectives on the teaching and learning experience, which is quite different. And then sort of on a more macro level, there's the challenge of getting these kinds of programs institutionalized without having them becoming ossified. So you want them to have a solid base and support, but you don't want them to become so inflexible that they can't be responsive to what people might need in terms of dialogue about teaching and learning.